broadcast today. My name is Dr. Johnson, and I'm glad to welcome everybody. Please invite your friends and anyone that probably needs to be part of today's broadcast. Feel free to invite them to join us. You can share the video. Feel free to invite them to join us for this broadcast today. And our focus today is on how to build your portfolio. How to build your portfolio for BI and data analyst role. For BI and data analyst role, how do you build your portfolio? Please share this video with those that are in your network. Share it with those that are in your network, and let's discuss together. Let's discuss together. Share it with those that are in your network, and let's discuss. How do you build your portfolio as a data analyst? How do you build your portfolio for a data analyst role? That's what I'll be talking about this afternoon. Please share this video and invite any of your friends that need to also join us as well. All right. Before I go into the topic for today, let me just make a quick announcement on what is going on with our company. The first announcement is with respect to Saturday. We'll be having a webinar on Saturday. It's a free webinar, and so I want to invite you and any other person that you know to join us on Saturday for our webinar on AI robots and automation. So robotic is an aspect of AI that is really gaining a lot of ground right now. So, but I want to invite you to come and learn what exactly does robots do, and what are they supposed to do, and how are they going to coexist with us and human in the future of work. So you can join us on Saturday for that free webinar, but you need to register. So check the link on our page for how to register for that webinar. So it's somebody that is an expert in the area that will be talking to us on Saturday. So please make sure that you don't miss the opportunity to join us. So register to join us on Saturday, and it will be a very, very enlightening webinar. I can guarantee you that. So join us on Saturday for the free webinar on AI, robots, and automation. So you will see how companies and organizations are using robots and AI automation to actually do some work that human beings are currently doing, and what will be the future of AI being used for automation of processes. So the person that will be talking to us is an expert in the area. So please make sure you register and join us as well. Okay. Then the second thing that I want to mention is our cybersecurity class, which is going to come in on the 17th of April. So our cybersecurity class will start on the 17th of April, and I want to invite you or any of your friends that is interested in career in the area of cybersecurity to join us. So please help us to spread the word. Anybody that is interested in building their career in cybersecurity is welcome to join us in the upcoming cybersecurity class. Now we have registration going on, and there is a discounted early bird registration that is going to close on April 6th. So anybody that want to register, please advise them to register before April 6th so that they get a discount. But after that, they can still register till 13th of April. Registration will close on the 13th, and the class starts on the 17th. So now let's go to today's topic, which is how do you build portfolio for a data analyst project. Okay, data analyst or BI project portfolio. How do you build a portfolio? Now, the key thing is that the field of data analytics has so many layers and so many levels. Okay, the entry level usually is that of a data analyst and BI. Okay, there are so many things that is done in the domain of analytics, so it's a broad field. So you have data, but there are so many layers of things that we do with data. And data is in different form. We have structured, we have unstructured, we have semi-structured, and we also have different usage of each of them. But mostly what organizations do most of their analysis on is structured data. So, but when you are looking at data itself, there are different things that businesses are doing with it. But for somebody who is a data analyst and business intelligence analyst, the primary thing that they do with data for organization is to help them to generate report and to help them to create dashboard. Okay, so they help organization to generate report and they help organization to create dashboard. So by those reports, they are helping businesses to answer some business questions. They are helping the businesses to actually measure some key performance index that the business answer. So every businesses have what they call KPI, which are index that they use to measure the progress and the performance of their business. So the job of a data analyst is to generate those reports regularly, and those reports are data driven. They are driven by data. So the job of a data analyst in the analytics continuum is mainly two things. Report generation, that might be standard report, which is something that the organization do regularly. It might be something that generates weekly. For example, if you are looking at things like sales, okay, every organization monitor their sales, and it might be something relating to the marketing strategy or the performance of their marketing strategy. So they generate those reports regularly to see what is the performance of their system. So standard reports are the ones that they generate regularly. Okay, it might be daily, it might be weekly, it might be monthly, it might be quarterly, it might be annually. So they have different kinds of reports that they generate. So that is standard report. But you also have what is called ad hoc report. Ad hoc report is, okay, maybe they have an observations that they see and they want to deep dive into it to investigate or to find out what is going on. Maybe there is a change in economy, or there is a new regulation that government institute, and they want to know how does that thing affect their sales. So they might want to do a deep dive, or they saw something that was strange, maybe in the numbers or in the figures that they see, and they want to investigate what is responsible for it. So that one will be an ad hoc report. It's not standard report. So standard report are the basic things that the organization generate report on. It might be things around their human resources. It might be things around employment engagement. It might be things around operational aspects of the company. It might be things around sales. It might be marketing. Different departments, different areas. They have so many standard reports that they generate, and it is the job of a data analyst to generate those reports. Now the other one is dashboard. Dashboard is essentially now putting those KPIs into visual form and in a way that you are telling story with the data. So part of the job of a data analyst is to ensure that you are able to communicate your results to executives, to non-technical people in a way that they will be able to understand. You might use technical tools to get the result, but you must be a good storyteller. And in storytelling, pictures speak more than word. One picture speak louder than 1,000 words. So you must be somebody that is very visual in your explanations. So sometimes you can use just a chart that shows trend. It's more relatable to non-technical people than you just giving them a bunch of numbers. Okay, so you use a combination of colors and a combination of charts to illustrate different things that you want them to see. So depending on the story that you want to tell, there are so many charts that can help you to do that. So that is essentially what a data analyst or business intelligence analyst do in their role. Now, depending on the organization that you are working for, the application of analytics will differ. Okay, depending on the industry. So that's why analytics is applicable in both the vertical and horizontal industries. So by vertical, we mean that those applications, they apply across different industries. And when you look at that, you are talking about things like sales, you are talking about things like human resources, you are talking about things like employee report, you are talking about things like maybe marketing. So any organization, whether it's education, whether it's health, whether it's technology, whatever organizations that you are talking about, they have each and one of those departments, and they all do analysis, they all do reporting, they all carry out. So those kind of domain, they are applicable across the industry, and that's why it's vertical. But when you talk about horizontal domain, you are talking specifically about different sectors like education, like healthcare, like transportation. Those are different domain. So when you are working along the horizontal, then you need specific domain knowledge. So if you want to go into education now, you want to know what are the key priority things that education people, they generate as report. And how do they generate that? If you are working in the healthcare sector, what they are interested in might be different. Okay, so you need to have some domain knowledge, business knowledge, to be able to contextualize your analysis very well. So that is the first thing that I think should happen before you start to create your portfolio. So you might decide that you want to join maybe the horizontal industry. So that means maybe your interest is in education, for example. So you need to find out from the perspective of those who are in education, what are the things they monitor about students? Okay, maybe performance of the student, the grade of the student, whatever, how many days do they come to school, how many times are they absent, what are the KPIs that they monitor? You can just find out based on the domain that you are interested in. Or maybe you are interested in oil and gas, for example. You want to do analysis for oil and gas industry. What are the KPIs that they measure? Is it the operation system of the whole oil and gas industry or whatever? So you need to find out the domain that you are interested in. And if you are specializing in any of the verticals, then you can apply that knowledge in any domain. For example, if you are interested in marketing analysis now, then you are interested in knowing about maybe performance of marketing strategies of the company, and then be able to generate, okay, when we post something on social media, how many people view it, how many people visit our website, how many people are return visitors, how many people are first-time visitors, and so on. All of those informations, they apply in marketing domain. And irrespective of the industry that you find yourself, you can transfer that kind of knowledge to another company that you are targeting. So if you have that as your foundation, the next thing that I think you need to do before you start thinking about your portfolio is to identify the what are the requirements for people who are going to work in the domain that you are targeting. Let's say, for example, you are trying to apply for a data analyst role in an education industry, for example. Look online for job description for people who are working in that industry. Now, the reason is because different industry actually have different tools that they also use. Even though there are some standard ones that you need to know, but depending on the industry too, there might be variations in the tool that they need you to know. And not only that, there are also different requirements for each job descriptions that you will need to take note of. So, but in all, I believe that the ones that are very important for you to be able to apply in any domain is, number one, you need to have some basic knowledge of statistics. Number two, you need to have knowledge of SQL, be able to write SQL query. Number three, you need to have knowledge of an analytical programming language, because you write some code. So that can be SAS, R, or Python. But currently now, Python is dominating, and I would advise that that should be what you should focus on. Then you need to have knowledge of Excel. Excel is an analytical tool, and it has a lot of functions for data analysis, and it has a lot of tools and functions for generating reports. In fact, most of the 60 to 70% of industries, they actually do most of their reporting using Excel, advanced Excel. So you need to understand how to do that in Excel. Then the other one that is important is you need to have a data visualization tool like Power BI or Tableau. So that is what some organizations are using to create their dashboards and KPI measurements. So you need to be able to create good dashboards in Power BI or Tableau. So when you have these sets of tools, then you need to now demonstrate, because the industry is not theory, the industry is practical oriented in nature. So which means that you need to demonstrate that you can actually use the tool and you understand the techniques and you have actually applied. Because when they want to hire you, the industry is looking for how will you be able to add value to the organization. So you need to tell your own story. You need to demonstrate that you can add value to the industry by the previous experience that you have. That's why when they post the job, they will ask you for some years of experience. How do you bridge that gap if you don't really have years of experience? The only thing that you have to showcase that you can do the job is to have a portfolio, of projects that you have done that is related. So, and I will advise that depending on the industry, make sure that if you are thinking of maybe filing for a role in sales department, if you can showcase a project that relates, it doesn't have to be exact, but if you can show a project that shows that you can do any job relating to that, and that comes from your knowledge of the domain, number one. Number two, how do you translate your past experience or work that you have done to soften the problem that they have in that domain? That is part of your communication skill that you have to learn. It doesn't have to be exact project that you will do when you work with the company, but it must be something that you can show that, yes, if you give me that position, I can bring the experience that I have and the value that I have into this position. So I will say that, number one, you need to find maybe a project that you work on in Excel that shows that you can use it to do reporting. Okay, there are so many functions and tools in Excel for reporting and for creating even analysis. Okay, so you want to demonstrate that you can use those tools. For example, things like conditional formatting, things like pivot table and so on, Power Queries and so on, and using a lot of statistical functions that are available in Excel to do a lot of things. So you want to have maybe a project that summarizes those experience, and then you can put it in your portfolio to say, yes, I use Excel to generate reports that focus on ABCD. Okay, and you want to relate it to the role that you're applying for. Then number two thing that you also need to do is to find maybe a project that you have done with SQL, because they want to know that if you are given an assignment and you need to extract the data, do you have knowledge of how to write a query to extract the data? So it doesn't have to be a separate project. For example, the one you did in Excel, you probably have the data from a relational database. You might say, oh, I extracted the data from an SQL database, maybe SQL Server, MySQL, Microsoft Access, or whatever. I develop queries to extract and load the data and transform the data, and so you can relate that to the same project that you are talking about, but you want to demonstrate that you can write a good query in SQL. Okay, so that should be part of what your portfolio should talk about. Okay, the third thing now will be programming. Okay, programming. So you need to have some knowledge of programming in either Python, R, or SAS. Okay, so if there is a project that you have worked on to use Python environment to do analysis, what are the kind of questions that you answer, and how does it benefit the business? What is the business value to the organizations, and how do you go about it? Because they want to test whether you have some idea of using these programming languages or environment to answer some business questions. So if they have the same questions, will you be able to answer it for them? So you can have a project that you have done that demonstrates that. And the last one for me will be Power BI or Tableau. Okay, and that is very critical because apart from reporting, which you can do with any of the other one, the last thing that organization want to do is dashboard. Okay, dashboard. Even though in Excel you can also do dashboard with Excel, but most organizations currently are using Power BI and Tableau. So when you are applying for the job, if the job involves creating dashboard, then you want to demonstrate that you can use Power BI or Tableau to get the job done. So that means you need to also have a project. It doesn't have to be specific to the industry or to the organization that you are applying for, but you can show that that knowledge is transferable if they hire you. So you want to have a project that you have done that demonstrates that you can create a dashboard for the organization. You can create a dashboard. You can extract the data from many sources. You can do data transformation. Okay, you can do data modeling, well, maybe with Power BI, and then you can create the dashboard report for visualization purposes and so on. So you need to have maybe a project that you have also done like that, and you can describe the process that you go through, the step that you take, because what they are trying to see is whether you understand the process, whether you understand the technique, whether you have some experience that is transferable. All right. So if you have those projects, the question will be, how do you then showcase? Now, in many cases, when they invite you for interview, you have to share your own story during that time. So, but one thing that is advisable is, number one, you can use a place like GitHub to archive whatever you have. That's number one. You can share that in maybe your resume or with recruiters. But the other thing again is that you can have it in maybe a OneDrive, maybe an online drive. If you have maybe Jupyter Notebook and some other data that you want, work that you have done before, you can have a link to that portfolio where you keep it and share it anytime they ask for it. You can share it. So make sure you keep a folder where you can put it, and it can be a OneDrive or any other drive that you can share with people. That's another way to do it. The other way to do it is maybe you can have your own page or website, one-page website where you will talk about your skill, experience as a data analyst. You can tell your own story, introduce yourself, and then put a page about your skill, what you know. I know SQL, I know Python, I know R, I know Power BI, I know all the things that you know as a data analyst they require. You explain that you have skills in doing that, and not just as skill alone, which are technical skills. There are also soft skills like communication, storytelling, teamwork, analytical thinking, and leadership capability. Those are things that is expected of a data analyst. That is, you have some soft skills that are also required. So put all of those things there as your skill, both hard and soft skill. Then the last thing now will be to show your portfolio. So you just create a link on the website to the projects that you have done. A project on creating dashboard or creating reports in Excel, sales report, marketing report in Excel. That might be one. Then another one might be doing data analysis with Python. Okay, doing data analysis with Python using NumPy, using Pandas, using Seaborn, using Matplotlib. You can explain some of the things that you use as tools there, because they want to know whether you know how to use those things. So then you showcase that project. Maybe you put your Jupyter notebook in there for them to see. Then the third one will be maybe Power BI or Tableau. If you have the outcome of your Power BI, you want to share for them to see the dashboard. So these are ways that you can project what you have, because if you don't tell your story, then nobody will. And it's very important that you go extra mile to convince the recruiter that you can do the job, because any job opportunity that you see, there are so many people that are applying for it. But how do you stand out as somebody that they can trust that will be able to do the job? It is through your portfolio. So, and I want you to know that you don't build your portfolio overnight. You build it gradually. So that's why, behind the scene, make sure that you get your hand dirty with a lot of projects. Now, one question that some other people might ask is, how do you get some data? Now, there are some open source data that are available out there. Now, not many, specific to industry. Most industries, they don't share their data. Most companies, they don't share their data because they are private and confidential. But there are a lot of open source data that are used, especially even for some academic work. And there are some other ones that you probably can check up when you look for platform like Kaggle. Okay, when you look for platform like Kaggle, you can get access to some data sets that you don't need to build. Some of them are designed for building machine learning model, but you don't need to do all the advanced stuff of machine learning model, but you can just use it for the little analysis that you want to do, maybe for marketing, for sales. You can look for data that are relating to those, and you get it, and then you use that to build your analysis. You can just ask a few questions. If you have analytical thinking, you can just come up with a few questions that you can ask from the data and use it to build a portfolio that you can present. Maybe something that you did on sales. You can present it to anybody that is trying to hire you as a sales data analyst. Okay, so I don't know if anybody has questions. You can ask your questions. I will answer it. Otherwise, that will be my advice for you today if you are looking for a data analyst or BI role. Now, on Friday, I'm going to come back and talk about data science. Okay, what are the things that need to be in your data science portfolio? If you are building a data science, you want to work as a data scientist. What are the things that need to be there in your portfolio? And maybe next week, I'm going to talk about AI or machine learning engineer. I will talk more about that next week. But on Friday, I will talk to data scientists on how to build your portfolio. And if you have any other question, feel free to inbox me or send me a message, or through Glomax. You can send to info@glomaxsolutions.com, and then I will address them during the live sessions anytime I'm back online. All right, so that's all for today, and I hope that you've gained one or two things. If you are looking for a data analyst role, I want to encourage you to stay the course and make sure that you are doing the hard work at the back stage, because one day the opportunity will come for you to be able to showcase what you have been doing, and the opportunity will open the door for you. So, but in this country, especially in Canada, nobody will hire you without a portfolio. Without a project portfolio, nobody will hire you. So I want to encourage you to actually build your portfolio so that you have something to show when the opportunity that you are looking for show up. All right. So see you on Friday. I will come back to talk on data science portfolio on Friday. Bye.